Good evening, lovely tubers. My name is the White Mexican, and welcome to Market Watch Investments. I have a plethora of cards that I'll be showcasing for you guys tonight. These will be my personal selections, and I do hope that you enjoy. Getting things kickstarted today is going to be King Ryo, very nostalgic card for me personally, with the Piper format way back in the day, quite some time ago. I want to say maybe like 2011-ish, 2012-ish era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right when I came back to the game second time. So really great stuff. 3 prints here, 2 commons, and then the original OG print being a super rare from the Duelist Genesis. Very infamous set. Great history merit on this card. This set in particularly because this was, of course, the set that Dawn Stardust Dragon and Ghost Rare and Ultimate Rare and all that good stuff, and, you know, ties to the anime and Yusei and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and reset my settings here. We're going to be looking for some first edition Near Mint Lightly Played, and really great artwork on this. I really do like one of those more colder spirit monsters for sure. But starting market price is going to be about 10 bones, roughly, give or take, for lightly played first edition copies, and goes to about Phantom under 12 bones for Near Mint first editions. These are all pretty much 1Z, 2Z stacks. There's 3 pages of availability, so we're going to switch over to bulk pricing here. First stack is going to go up to 14 bones for Near Mint first edition, and then it's roughly around the same price for a 4 stack. So interesting enough on that. Next is going to be Droll and Lockbird. So specifically the structure deck order of the spellcasters, the common from the structure deck. It's going for like 15 plus bones, pretty much all across the board here. It's pretty interesting. Negate these OCG Korean shenanigans here. But yeah, 15 bones plus pretty much all across the board here. Only 2 pages of availability, and if we switch over to bulk pricing, about 16 bones for the first Near Mint first edition 3 stack, and then jumps to roughly almost around 17 for 5 stacks. So just very a lot of value in this common, just being a common. I mean, get it. This is a heavy side card, and you know, in and out of the meta popularity. But for a common, you know, and this, I guess this structure deck's a couple years old now, so it's not too terribly old. It's kind of getting up there in age, but it's definitely not super old. And okay, so, and I thought that was interesting. So that's you know, that's potentially a style target if you guys have an abundance of commons. I mean, you can slang them for some pretty good money if people are willing to buy. Ideally, my personal favorite is the OTS 1 super rares, being that it is OTS 1, the very first OTS, and again, I just have this obsessive love with hand traps and super rare. It's pretty bad, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of these supers. I really hate when people flood the market with OCG stuff. Like, this market is not for... okay, well, I mean, anyway, this is... we're just gonna keep on moving on here. So, like, I can understand, like, if you're trying to sell something that's actually, like, what people, like, actually want that's OCG, like, in an Ultima Rare Gemini Elf and its uncensored artwork, or like a secret rare Dark Magician with its uncensored artwork, or like a DT Dark Magician. I meant Dark Magician Girl, not Dark Magician. Anyway, but they just pick like the randomest cards. So anyway, it like floods the market, and it just really jacks up the display here. Anyway, moving on. So it's roughly around 18, 19-ish bones. There's like a 1 stack here for around 19, and then it quickly goes up to 30 bones, so that's a significant increase in price differentiation. And there's only 2 pages of availability. I wonder if there's any bulk pricing, and there is no bulk pricing. This is all OCG stuff, unfortunately. So interesting. Definitely an increase. For the longest time, I feel like this was like around 10 to 15 bones, and now it's pretty much jumped up to 30 after that one single piece. So ultra rare, we're just not even going to talk about it because it's ultra rare, and that's just disgraceful. And then of course we have the OTS tournament pack 8 ultimate rares, which ideally of course are the highest rarity print and are very aesthetically pleasing. I've heard that these are very flimsy. Some ultimate rares come out very very flimsy, and you want to just be careful about that. I personally would never play a high rarity like this in a game, in a duel or anything like that, but it is really cool to collect high rarity, you know, slap them in some top loaders, double sleeved. Anyway, this is going for a phantom under 200 bones, about 181 plus. There is a fat stack here for 182 plus shipping for a 3 stack. And interesting enough, it looks like there's almost more availability for the ultimate rare than there is even for the super rare. So let's see what the, again, stack pricing is. Again, same, around 183-ish, give or take. And still about 2 pages of stacks, so impressive. Very, very gorgeous card. Alright, so moving on. Next card is going to be Red Blossoms from Underroot. Now, they did this card so dirty. I think this card, its effect is kind of wonky. It's not really so much that I think that this would be a great meta card or a very highly sought after card for playability purposes, but this is all stems, like in my white Mexican theory, for collectability purposes. The artwork is pretty killer. I love all the like shattered skulls over here and how it's under this blossom tree, and like it's got all the roots here on the base, and boots are kind of like boots clogs. They're like the socks become boots, and then she's like trying to wear like these like chanclas or something. I don't really know what was going on with that. That's really the only part of the artwork that's kind of like questionable to me, but the scythe is really cool. And this card has relatively all around really cool artwork. You know, it's totally fits the bill for that waifu tax kind of section of the game. It's kind of, but the thing is they reprinted it in these mass overproduced, very cheaply made ultra rare reprint sets. And if they would have made this a secret rare or like a nice rarity, like if they made it, like if they didn't like reprint it like crazy, I think it was like a promo card. I think Dual Devastator. I think you got like all the same cards in the box or something. Anyway, all I'm saying is I think this card has potential to have some kind of piece in the collector's market if it comes out, if it gets reprinted in like a higher rarity, like by, I don't know why they would do this, but like an ultimate rare, but more specifically a secret rare. So obviously this card was in huge abundance and it's pretty much all over the place. But it's just an interesting card for that purpose. I think, you know, who knows, maybe it'll reprint it in a higher rarity and it'll be a lot more aesthetically pleasing and a lot more soft, or specifically for collectability purposes for artwork. But outside of artwork and it getting a higher rarity, like a way higher rarity, this card's kind of a dead draw. Next is going to be Samsara Lotus. So this is still banned. This is still on the forbidden list, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe you guys can comment below. I'm sure there's some kind of crazy combo. I don't personally really see why this would just be solely banned on its own. There's obviously some kind of crazy combo that this was abused within. And anyway, just kind of an obscure card, still to the day, extremely old Phantom Darkness solo print common, so pretty cool artwork too. Really pretty cool artwork on this. So interesting that it's still a solo print. Pretty much $1 all across the board. There's an 8 stack here for, you know, about a $50 for near mint first edition. So plenty of availability, 5+ pages. But that was just something that I kind of wanted to kind of mention and kind of just piqued my curiosity. I was checking the list and I noticed that this card was on there. So maybe you guys can school me on some history on that. So next is going to be Kuribo. So I don't really know exactly when, but eventually we're going to be getting some kind of new Kuribo based support, Kuribo themed subset or something like that. You know, Kuribo's very old. I mean, heavily used in the anime and has ties with Yami Yugi, so some good kind of collectability merit on that. You know, it's extremely old. Generation Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, original super rare variants dawning from Metal Raiders. Interesting enough, I actually think, besides the Metal Raider Super Rares first edition exclusively, the Forbidden Legacy, this was a really interesting set. This was kind of a kind of lesser known subset, and I'm pretty sure that these were only sold in blisters, because you would get like a blister pack, And then I think these were promos. I don't exactly remember, but very, very obscure. And you can see like the Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, they're going for relatively good money here. And Kuribo as well. We're going to get into this. So I don't really remember. If I remember correctly, I want to say I believe these were sold again like at like Walmart or Target exclusively in like blister packs, and these were promos, and I think it had some kind of other booster pack, and I can't remember exactly. Very, very obscure set, but really, really great. Forbidden Legacy is a really killer subset name, in my opinion. Not the best artwork of Blue Eyes. I've always really disliked this artwork variant of Blue Eyes. This is like an okay variant of Dark Magician. The original one that we got from Starter Deck Yugi was my all-time favorite variant. But moving back to Kuribo, so this is the highest rarity, technically, hierarchy-wise, that we have, as it's dawning as a secret rare promo here. And this is going for relatively good money. We can see, again, negate this OCG stuff. And it's roughly around 10 bones, give or take, for lightly played. And kind of trickles up after that. Only 3 pages of availability. And then near mints starting off at, around 12-ish plus bones. If you want to switch over to stacks, we're going to get 6 stack of lightly played for around 11. And then it's going to go up to about 20 for near mints for the fat stack of 21. So this, if you're not going to get the original first edition supers from Metal Raiders, I think this is the ideal choice. I mean, obviously it's increased a little bit in price because, the hype behind the new Kuribo support potentially. Of course, there's the dual terminal 1. It is just a common, but it is dual terminal, and not only dual terminal, it's a dual terminal 1. The first dual terminal, obviously subsiding right after preview. And this is pretty nice as well. Dual terminals discontinued. White Mexican Theory. I really, really believe that there's a lot of potential for dual terminal cards. And I think overall, just fan favorite rarity. A lot of people just don't really dislike dual terminal rarity. I think it looks very aesthetically pleasing to the majority of the player populace. And then, of course, you have the original Generation 1 Set 2 Metal Raiders. And, of course, these are going to be relatively expensive for the first edition copies. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some first edition copies. Lightly played first edition is around 40-ish, bones 38. And if you want near mint first edition, there is only 2 pages of availability, to no surprise. I mean, this card is ancient. There's a Spanish for 81, if you guys are into Spanish stuff. And then the only English near mint first edition is 100 plus, around 105 bones. So that's pretty out there. Anyway, so Kuribo, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so next is going to be Thunder King Ryo. I love this card. I still think this card holds up immensely, even in this current meta. If you guys have watched my previous videos, I'm a giant fan of anti-meta. It's one of my all-time favorite decks. I love messing around with different tech cards and just kind of blending different things to make anti-meta stuff, but pretty standard core, Banisher, Dyna, and Thunder King, and obviously now we have the Inspector Border as well to incorporate. And there's some just really great rarities. Obviously, Turbo Pack Booster 8, Ultimate Rare. Now, I do like Ultimate Rares. I mean, Ultimate Rares are nice, but unfortunately they come out too dark, and this just happened to be one of the sets that was manufactured just too dark. This card has really great artwork, and it looks good in Ultimate Rare, but the coloring just came out way too dark. The background is way too dark, and it really just it takes away from the artwork, in my personal opinion. So I personally am not gonna invest in the Ultimate Rare. I'd much rather invest in the Secret Rare personally. This is a lot more brighter, and again, this being a light thunder card, you have all this lightning and everything. You want the card to be lighter. You want it to be more vivid and more descriptive in the artwork. I think it's really cool artwork too. And this just looks all around better to me. Again, obviously Ultimate is a higher rarity. It's harder to get. It's more expensive, but this just looks all around better to me. The fact that it's a secret rare promo is pretty cool too. And again, I'm a huge fan of secret rare in general, so I might just be a little biased, but I do think that the lighting is just significantly superior in this variant here. So that's the main reason why. I like this, and this was going for pretty good money. I feel like this decreased a little bit. There's a little bit of kind of a resurgence in kind of the versatility in this card. Now keep in mind, of course, that this is a two-prong attack with this card. It's basically a mistake on legs, and then also no searching, and then of course, for an inherent summon, you can push it off to negate an inherent summon, such as a synchro or an XYZ and stuff like that. So really cool. And then a great stats, standard great, light 4, level 4, 1900, just all around just really great card at its base and together. So roughly around 23ish, I guess, give or take, is the lightly played price range now. And if you want near mint, looks like there's actually quite a bit on the market here, about 4 pages. Near mint's going to run you around 30 bones plus. And if we switch over to bulk pricing, there's some lightly playeds for around 26 plus for a 6 stack, and then near mints are going to be 33 for a 5 stack. So all around amazing card. I love this card so much. And of course, we have a couple other variants, but ideally, I mean, if you don't want to just get the commons just to play, I mean, even the commons are like 4 or 5 bones. I mean, good money. It's just an amazing card in general. But ideally, I really do think that oh wow, even the gold one apparently are up to almost 10 bones. That's pretty incredible for the gold series 3s. Anyway, secret rare for days. All right, moving on. So the next card is going to be Magical Scientist. A few videos back, I decided to start this new series basically evaluating cards for potential rarity upgrades or things that deserve, reprints and, higher rarities and all that. And I still really think this would be a great target for that. This is kind of something that I want to start incorporating and blending into my content. And Magical Scientist, I think, is a really critical target for that. This card is insanely old. I mean, it goes all the way back to Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Magician's Force as a common, and then it had one single reprint in Dark Revs Volume 1, but they only made it a rare. I think it would have been a little bit more acceptable if they would have made it at least a super rare, so we had a holo foil of this card. This card just, one, it has great artwork. The history merit behind this card was an extremely powerful card when it first came out, and it was used in a lot of infamous formats in the Generation 1 game state. And it just reminds me of like Resident Evil or something, like this like dark laboratory with these monsters. And the scientist himself, he's kind of wonky. I think they could have made him a little bit more badass looking. He looks kind of like a hippie, like biker gangster. I'm not really sure, but the background and like the coloring and the green and all that is just really cool. And I think that this card would be an ideal target for a secret rare reprint. I think if we got a secret rare reprint of Magical Scientist, it has enough history merit, and it's definitely old enough, like my goodness, this card is ancient, to merit a rarity increase to secret rare. And I just think that the foiling would just look great with deep secret rare foiling. And anyway, so this is the card here. That was pretty much it. That was really the only thing I really wanted to mention here. If you guys want to kind of dip into that further, but I really think that this card would look great in secret rare. All right, next is going to be DD Crow. So we have the Dual Terminal 5 common dual terminals here. And then ideally, my personal, again, this is like White Mexican Theory and my obsession with hand traps and super rare. The first edition super rare copies of Legendary Collection 2 and Raw Yellow Mega Pack, these sets ran parallel. They reproduced a lot of the same cards and the same rarities, just like Legendary Collection 3 and 4. So really quick, relatively affordable cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with bulk pricing and give you guys a preview what that is. Apparently, at least for this set particularly, there isn't any stacks available for lightly played first edition, so I'm just going to take this off. And it's roughly around 2 bones. Unfortunately, there's not an abundance, 3 pages of availability, but give or take roughly 2 bones for the first edition copies. Again, you always want to go first edition, always. It's all about first edition. I little to almost never invest in anything that can be manufactured, or that was manufactured in first edition, and then it's just not. I don't really see a lot of That's just me personally. That's you know, to each their own on that. Okay, so, and then for this set, Legendary Collection 2. Now, ideally, I would go for the Legendary Collection 2 first variants before, even though they're the same rarity and came out roughly around the same time. Legendary Collection 2 is older. It came out before Yellow Raw Mega Pack. I always mess up that name. It's a tongue twister for me for some reason. This is older and a little bit more competitive to get, so I would personally go for this one first, just for the sheer merit of it's older. And the same thing, these roughly around 2 bones, and it looks like there's maybe a little bit more of these for the first edition, so we're going to see if, well, apparently not, okay, there's no stacks available that, but roughly 2 bones for this. I think these are the ideal prints. They're hollow foils. I think personally they look nice, and you know, they're just super rare, so if you play with them, they get lightly played. It's not really a big deal. So that's my personal theory on that. The DTs are really cool, but they're kind of up there in price, you know, being DT, which is fine. DT is great. And then of course we have the Starlight variants and the Ultimate Rare variants. Now the Starlight variants, I personally do not like Starlights, and I'm going to tell you why. Starlights, for the majority of, not all of them, I'm not trying to generalize the whole Starlight economy here, but Starlight Rares, they come off like almost fake looking to me. Like, they look like someone took some cardboard, some Yu-Gi-Oh cardboard, and they slapped some kind of like elementary school kid's sticker over the surface of the card, and it looks like fake. It just looks very fake and just cheap looking to me. It does not look good. Not for all of them, but for some of them. There's a card that I'm going to review here at the end of the video that's actually one of the first Starlight Rares that I actually think looks very, actually pretty nice. Pretty nice. So for that purpose, I don't think that Starlight Rare Crow looks good. So I'm just going to go ahead and review something that does look good, in my personal opinion, which is going to be the very nostalgic Ultimate Rare for the original set, Strike and Neos, of course. Again, if you're gonna go high rarity of Ultimate Rare with an old card like this, you might as well go first edition. Just go ahead and click that first edition filter, because what's the point? Like, why, even though it's significantly more affordable to get the unlimiteds, like, if you're gonna go Ultimate Rare, you might as well go all out and work towards the first editions, in my personal opinion. So it looks like there is lightly played here for 220. And then there is a European French one here for roughly around 220. I'm going to take a look at this. It's been a while since I've seen a Frenchie on here, so just check this out. Pretty cool. I personally love European cards myself. I'm fascinated with a lot of the European prints, like the actual European language prints, not just Euro prints themselves. Anyway. Okay, so you can see it's a relatively expensive card, extremely old, you know, very sought after, always coming in and out of the game for the most part. It looks like the near mints go up to about 400 bones, a little bit over 400 bones here. You can see it's 395 plus 5 bones shipping. So again, you're going to see that massive significance between the lightly played first edition, not only first editions in the unlimited, but first edition lightly played to first edition near mints. There's always a significant price increase, and not really a lot. There's a 2 stack here and a 2 stack here, and then other than that, they're all onesies, and then it bottoms out at 550 bones for this last one here. So an amazing card and amazing rarity and just really great artwork. So there's a lot of good stuff going on with the bird. Next is going to be Gran Maju. I love this card so much. Again, this may be kind of like the rogue anti-meta player in me kind of exposing itself, but this card is really, really great. I think it's amazing that we got this super rare from OTS Pack 12. I honestly, if I'm so bold to say, I really think this card deserved an ultimate slot. I really, really do. This card is extremely old. This goes all the way back to Generation 1 as a common from Invasion of Chaos. And this card's artwork is just killer. Like, this thing just looks like a sinister, like, Power Ranger tripping on acid in, like, the emerald green realms of hell. And it's just, it's an amazing card. A lot of people hate this card. I love this card. It's very simple. It's very powerful. And it's, again, it's just got killer artwork. And it's really fun to play. And there's a lot of decks that are, like, solely based, I want to say a lot, but some decks that are solely based around this, and it's rightfully so. It's a really badass card. there's a lot of crazy, fun little combos you can do with, like, these cards here too. So anyway, these super variants are like roughly around 5 bones, it looks like. Yeah, give or take, roughly around about 4 or 5 bones. Here's some French ones. For 5 bones, there's a fat stack of 87. That's a lot of Majus there. Demon, that's so cool in French. In French, it's called Demon. That's really, really cool. It's interesting how the names stayed the same. Yeah, it's like the same spelling and everything. So, again, sometimes these OTS super rares, they come off a little light. It's kind of hard to see the foiling, so that's kind of unfortunate. But I am very thankful that we did finally get a holofoil reprint. Even though it is a super rare, it is still very much a holofoil, and I can appreciate that. But this card totally deserves potentially an Ultima Rare, but more specifically a secret rare. Even a secret rare, this card would look so gorgeous in secret rare. Big fan of super rare, but this totally deserves a secret rare in my personal opinion. Please, Konami, do not shaft us and throw this in some cheap subset as an ultra rare. Like, that would just be severely disappointing. Okay, next is going to be Battle Fader. So Battle Fader, like Crow, has a lot of really cool rarities as well. We have the Legendary Collection 5Ds secret rares, which are some of the best, one of the best variants in my personal opinion. We have the Battle Fader from Duelist Saga. Again, to this own merit alone, one of the only sets to have this special, like, lightsaber, laser beam looking holofoil. It's actually very aesthetically pleasing. Again, I bag on ultra rare kind of like as a joke, kind of not as a joke all the time. But there are a few instances where ultra rare is actually really nice, like exclusive first edition Generation 1 cards, Shonen Jump promos that have been discontinued. DT Ultras, and then of course obviously Duelist Saga, because it's very, very unique. No other set in the TCG has reproduced this rarity, and it's very interesting to see, to think about if Konami will ever reproduce this rarity, or still will Duelist Saga forever remain like the one-ofs of one-ofs. So really cool, unique merit on that. We have the Dual Terminal Commons, Dual Terminal 6 Commons, which are really great too. So out of all these that, obviously the ultimate rare isn't here, but of all these, I think ideally the either the dual terminal or the secret rares would probably be the best. More so the secret rares, just because I think they look nicer than DTs, but the DTs are very affordable. And there used to be, for like the longest time, this used to be like an insane abundance of this card. I'm not even really sure. It looks like there's only 5 prices of stacks now. And there's still quite a few. I mean, there's a bone here for 11 stack, and then about a bone and a half for a 14 stack. So there's still pretty good abundance here on the market. But I'm talking about like 50 plus stack, 100 plus stack. I've invested quite heavily in DT in general, but more specifically, this was just such an affordable card amongst many other things that were available in bulk prices. So interesting on that. Next is going to be the Ultima Rare variant, so Absolute Power Force, obviously the original print, and ideally, yes, this is going to be, the most expensive, and, everyone's going to want this the most, so we're just going to go ahead and take a look at this. It looks like the starting market price for lightly played first edition is going to be roughly around 59 bones, and then if you want near mints, it's going to go all the way up to 85. Only 2 pages of availability. Switch over to stack prices. There is 1 stack available, happens to be near mint first edition, which is pretty cool, and that's going to go for 90 bones a piece. So there is Battle Fader. Next is going to be Level Eater. So I kind of talk about Level Eater in and out. I think this is a pretty significant card. It's been on the ban list, forbidden list, for quite some time. Again, personal white Mexican theory, we never really know when Konami is going to decide to really just bust out some juggernauts from the ban list, and this card it's pretty significant. I think you can do a lot with this. There's a lot of really fun synchro combos that like to utilize this card, hence probably the reason that this card got forbidden / banned. But it's really cool. I like how it's like the whole level star, the whole ploy behind being the actual like level star, monster level star, and it's a dark level 1. And I don't know. It's just I like this card. I appreciate this card, and I think it's a cool mechanic behind it. So we have the only holofoils as super rare from Duelist Pack Duelist Pack Collection Tin promos, I guess was what it was. So this being the highest rarity, we're going to go ahead and look at this. These are roughly around 3-ish bone for lightly played, and then about roughly around 5-ish, give or take, for near mints. We're going to switch over to bulk pricing, and it's going to be pretty much 5 bones. 5 bones for lightly played, 5 bones for near mints. Now, even though this is a higher rarity, I still would recommend investing in the dual terminal. Even though the dual terminal isn't hollow, I mean, technically kind of, I mean, it's borderline. It's DT, so it's definitely not common. Even though it's technically common, it's not common. You know what I mean? And, you know, I really like this kind of like shattered glass looking DT variant rarity. DT in general is just amazing. I'm so biased towards DT. I love DT. So if you're looking for DT support, like this is your channel. I'm infuriated with DT. So the thing about this card is, and hear me out, it's a very affordable, and there is a lot available. Like you can see here, these are a bone a piece, and there's 61 stack. So, and again, this kind of like Battle Fader, there's just, and there was even more. Now it's kind of dwindling. There's only 2 pages, but there used to be even more than this, and there is still some pretty fat stacks here. 32, 37, 61, and they're relatively affordable. And again, DT's discontinued, and it's just a really great rarity. So personally, this is the one that I would go for. Of course, there's a Battle Pack Epic Dong Star foil rares, which I really like these a lot. This was kind of just like the next generation of DT. Like after DT stopped, they kind of implemented these. And when was that? A lot happened in that era. I think it was like 2012, 2013, 2011 era of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just got back in the game, like for the first time since being a kid. I started in 2002, got out in 2004, and then came back in 2011 after high school. It was the summer after high school, so that era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this was great because they reprinted Tour Guide for the first time in this set, and you know it was a good time. Anyway, all right, so that's gonna be Level Eater. Next is going to be Spirit Reaper. I love Spirit Reaper. This card has an amazing effect, amazing stacks, dark, level 3. I love this purple pimp robe and the death scythe and just the whole like dark allure behind this card. And there's some pretty great rarities. I mean, we pretty much almost got every single rarity. Obviously Champion Pack 3, extremely old, only 7 listings, a lot of collectability behind this personal variant. There's a Star Foil rare that was some random prize card that's worth some relatively good money. Apparently it's only 4 listings. We have the Dark Revs rare reprint, and then we have the Pharaonic Guardian rare original Generation 1 Pharaonic Guardian prints, a couple ultra rare variants. Again, huge fan of Legendary Collections 3 and 4. A lot of amazing infamous Generation 1 cards and some really great rarities exclusively for the first editions. Go ahead and check those sets out. I think that, and this could be kind of me being a little greedy, but I think that this card deserves a Secret Rare reprint. Again, I think this card would look gorgeous in Secret Rare, and it's been around long enough. This card's extremely ancient, and it's held up. This is a really, really great card. It has great artwork. It has great history merit behind it, and I'm just a really big zombies / dark deck builder in general, so I think that this would look really, really cool as a Secret Rare. Now, I wanted to take note of the original print first editions because these are actually really not that bad. It's gone down. Maybe the market kind of got a little flooded here because I remember it being more than this, but there's actually a lightly played here for like roughly around 2 bones. Pretty much all across the board here, and then it jumps to about 3, and then around 4-ish, 5 for near mints. 3 pages of availability. There is a single stack of near mint first edition for 10 bones, so not too terribly expensive. You know, it is. You think of it, oh, it's just a rare like 10 bones, but keep in mind this is Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Pharaonic Guardian is an extremely, extremely old set. This is a very infamous card. One of my all-time favorite, like, original printed rare cards of all time. Really, really great stuff. Have nothing but praise for this card. So, ideally, this would be the one that, out of all of them, that I personally really like to invest in. I collect the first edition copies for lightly played near mint. Of course, you know, if you want, like, a nicer, like, well, can't really say nicer rarity, but these are holo foils. Unfortunately, they did make them ultra rares. If they would have, again, these were amazing sets, but if they would have reproduced these as secret rares back then in these set, these would be a lot more money. I think these would really be a lot more sought after. Of course, you know, for the big time collectors, they're gonna drop money for the super rares, but ideally, I think the original first edition copies are where the best investment currently is for Spirit Reaper. Next is going to be Skull Servant. So I don't know much about this deck. I know there's a relatively large player base following behind it, and a lot of people like it. There's some pretty heavy hitters that you can build up. And this card is obviously insanely old, like Generation 1, Set 1, Legend of Blue Eyes, White Dragon. And of course, again, infamous Legendary Collection 3 reproduced the holofoil as an ultra rare. Now, granted, there is actually now there are some ultra rares that in the set that came out really good. Like this set, the quality was really good. Even the ultra rares, they came out very nice. And there is quite a bit of ultra rares for the first editions exclusively, again, that I really do appreciate, because I'm just like borderline obsessed with this set and Legendary Collection 4. This is going for around 18 bones for lightly played. If you want near mints, it's going to go up to around 24. There's 2 pages of availability. It looks like there is some stacks available. Stacks increase significantly. First edition near mint stack of 5 is around 27, 28. And then there's a 3 stack over here. So that's going to be Skull Servant for you. Again, I mean, if you're a big time player, fan of this deck, I feel like you'd want the first edition ultras exclusively. Or maybe not. Maybe you want to go kind of old school and you want to go for the first edition original commons, which still, you know, as long as you get, you know, the first edition stamp, that's fine. I mean, I think this is, you know, pretty much on par with the ultras. It's not holofoil, but it's still the original print, and that's going to cost you some pretty good money. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to first edition lightly played near mints. And even for lightly played, starting market price is 10 bones. This says Australian. That's interesting. Are they like printing an accent onto these cards? How does that work? Oh, it has a little A here. That's interesting. I didn't know that there was like specifically printed Australian cards. That's cool. Anyway, so yeah, this is pretty good money. Obviously, any kind of first edition from this Generation 1 stuff is going to be relatively good, and kind of just trickles up after this. 3 pages of availability. So, out of curiosity, I want to see bulk pricing. Bulk pricing, again, increases even more. First stack of 3 is around 33 bones for near mint first edition. So, alright, moving on. So next is going to be Effect Veiler, specifically the Noble Knights of the Round Table box set. This was a hideous rarity. Like, forgive me if you like this rarity, but kind of like the majority of the newer gold sets, they're just like, what was Konami thinking? It came out like this nasty, like purple-brown color, and purple should never be mixed with brown. It just looks disgraceful. And anyway, this card's money though. I don't know why. Maybe it was like under manufactured, rightfully so, because it's hideous. But this card is like 17 bones, like starting market price, and it goes up to like 20 plus. And there's only 2 pages of availability. So I'm not sure why. There's so many amazing variants of Effect Veiler. I really don't understand why this garbage rarity is so much money. Alright, so that's the definite sell, in my personal opinion, if you guys have that in abundance. They have the original Duelist Revolution first edition copies, which are really great. Of course, the infamous Duelist Saga, which these are actually going up in price, it looks like. It looks like they're dwindling quite significantly on the market here. Which, you know, this has always kind of been like a sleeper card. I feel like people kind of ignored it, and it kind of got built up on the market, and it went down to like 3-5 bones. And now, you know, it's dwindling on the market. There's only 1 page of availability, and it's pretty much starting market price is 9 bones, and then if you want stacks, it goes up to 15, then trickles up to 26, and then 30. So, and this is a really nice rarity. Like, there's a lot of great variants of Effect Veiler, but this is probably, at least for the ultra variants, this is my favorite specifically. And now again, I don't like ultra rares, but given like what we have, the original first edition exclusively ultra rares, I know that ultimate rare variant came out of this set as well. but these are pretty decent too. The quality control was very good on this set. And this era Yu-Gi-Oh! They're producing some pretty solid ultra rares. So I really don't mind. I personally, I'll admit, I do have some original first edition ultras. And I also have the Duel Saga, which I like. But the ideal choice, again, kind of going back to my obsession with hand traps in Super Rare, is going to be the Order of Chaos Special Edition Super Rare. A lot of people don't like this. A lot of people say, like, oh, this was mass-produced. It's very cheaply made. There's too much of an abundance on the market. That may be true, but I personally think it really looks very good. I think that they manufacture these with pretty good quality. And again, I might just be biased because I am borderline obsessed with hand traps and Super Rare. But this is the ideal print for playability purposes. You know, this card's always kind of coming in and out of popularity, when to use it, when to side it, all that stuff. And keep in mind, it is a tuner. I feel like a lot of people forget that kind of side bonus, that this is a tuner. So you could potentially go into a synchro play with this card. It also is a light, so again, if you're doing some kind of like BLS play or anything like that, it's a pretty cool combo. This is roughly around 5 bones. More or less, we're about 5 bones now for lightly played variants. And there's 3 pages of availability. For the longest time, this card was like $2-3. It was very, very affordable. We can see here now, there's not even stacks available for these conditions. Only 3 pages of availability. So this is kind of like a sleeper, like lower end card that has kind of sneakily, you know, has kind of risen to some significance, predominance here. And again, I really appreciate this rarity, and that's like the one I personally use. Like when I'm playing in a duel in a game, I like using the super rare promos. And that's pretty much going to be it for those variants. Then, of course, we have the very infamous original Duelist Revolution Ultimate Rares. Again, now, this picture does not do it justice. I've personally seen first edition Ultimate Rares in person and up close, and they look very nice. They do not look this dark. This is just a bad picture. You can see the gray and the blue and the green, and it looks very nice. So it looks a lot better than this picture depicts it, and these are just insane value. Like played first edition is going to be a 360 plus. Near mint goes all the way up to 420, and it continues just to trickle up after that. Of course, there's only 1 page of availability. There is a few stacks. I'm going to switch over to stacks. And this card is just, you know, god money. It's really, really good, and I mean, rightfully so. High rating of Ultima Rare first edition, and very infamous set. Really, really great history merit behind this set. Really fun time in the game, and this is just a great card. I mean, it never dies. It's always kind of going in and out of the game state. So that's Effect Failure for you guys. Next is going to be kind of an obscure card, Goblin King. So the original print, all the way back to Generation 1 in Ancient Sanctuary. And then we got a couple other common variants. Really, this is, if you guys are into Dark Revs, but personally I'd much rather have a first edition print. And this is another card I think that would look good in maybe like an OTS Super, or maybe if I'm so ambitious to say a Secret Rare. I really like the artwork on this. I think the artwork is really cool. I like this like sinister goblin demon looking on his throne. So it reminds me of kind of like the thing from, I don't remember what it was called. If you guys played Resident Evil 4, whatever his name was, the little one, the son of the main dude. It kind of reminds me of him. Salazar, was it maybe, or something like that? Anyway, I'm a huge fan of Tomb Raider and Resident Evil and like all these games, and you'll kind of see the reference potentially in some of my playlists here. But anyway, this card is really cool. If you guys don't know what this does, this is a relatively cool card. This is the effect here. Again, great stats, a dark level 1 fiend. And I love that. Like, I love the simplicity about like things being like small like that, like level 1, 0, 0 dark, and obviously fiend dark. So I'm a huge Dark World fan. Obviously there's, you know, an abundance of fiend based decks out there, but mine is more specifically Dark World is kind of my top dog for fiend decks. Anyway, this card would look great in a super secret personally, so I just wanted to showcase that really quick. Next is going to be Monster Eye. So this is another very obscure card. Only 2 variants, both World Championship cards, prize cards to say. There is and came out back to back. So the original was a rare from 2010, and then there was the super rare from 2011, and massive significance in difference. You can see the rare is about 70 to 90, and then the super is almost about 500 bones. So interesting enough too, there's only 1 listing. So I don't know about other platforms, but here on TCGP there's only 1 listing, and unfortunately it's mod played. So kind of rip to that. I don't think this, especially this being like its value is being in a collectible card, that this isn't gonna sell, in my personal opinion, for that price. I mean, maybe, but highly unlikely. And then this as well. Is this the same seller, by the way? I'm curious. Okay, so no, it's not the same seller. So I don't have a monopoly of 2 on here. So this is the reprinted variant a year later as a super really cool artwork. Again, it reminds me of like Thousand Eyes Restrict, or like Pegasus's Eye, or whatever it is. I don't really know what this is supposed to be, like a blood flash. I don't really know what's going on in the background here, but really cool artwork. That kind of old school, like sinister, just very dark looking artwork. Very Gen 1 style to me. And this is damaged. My goodness, damage for 420. Yeah, that's very, very ambitious. This guy is extremely optimistic about trying to sell a damaged card for 420. Anyway, okay, so moving on is going to be Petite Angel. Now, the reason why I wanted to review this is because this is specifically the European print. In Europe, apparently there was, I don't know if all of the Magic Ruler sets or just some of them, or if this was a misprint. This card came out apparently in Magic Ruler. Now, that wasn't supposed to happen. This card is originally from Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, as you can see here. Here it is, Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it has the set name and everything. That's when it originally came out, and that's what it was supposed to be. But for some reason, kind of Europe did its own thing, and they're like, you know what, we're just going to change it up. And they actually got it in Magic Ruler, and maybe there's other sets they got it too, but somewhere down the line, some of these were manufactured in Magic Ruler instead of the original Metal Raider set. And this card is really expensive. You can see there's only 3 listings available. Lightly played first edition is 500 and 505, and then it goes to over $1,000. So insanely expensive. I don't really see much of anyone actually taking the time to invest that kind of cash in something like this, being that it is just a common and it's a very, very obscure part of the investment market for collectors. But it's there, it's a thing, and I just thought that was pretty cool. So I just, I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because I'm really into kind of like lesser known parts of the market. Alright, so next is going to be something that's really, really special to me. Tour Bus from the Underworld. Now, I, like many players, am a total tour guide fanboy. I fell in love with tour guide back when I got into the game and around 2011 era. I'm trying to remember, was it Extreme Victory? Extreme Victory was a set that we got, tour guide, the original prints. And, it was a game-changing card. XYZs were, dominating. They were just coming out, and it was like an instant XYZ potential and great artwork. And the same with this. This has fantastic artwork. The effect is really not that great. This is never going to be a played card unless there's some kind of very minute combo that comes out. This is never really going to be like a meta-heavy card or anything like that. But the thing that the secret talent that Tour Bus has is that it has fantastic artwork. If I'm so bold to say, I really think it almost has artwork that matches or even surpasses the original tour guide. And the reason why I say that is because of this like this Soul Mountain thing here. This is a really cool background. And again, being that it is high rarity of Secret Rare and Order of Chaos, a really great Infamous set. We got Insectors from this set. I personally am a big fan of Insectors. At the time, I wasn't playing when it was when it first came out, and it was kind of just destroying the game state with alongside windups, but this is just again, like, I think for collectability purposes exclusively, this is a high rarity of secret rare from a very old infamous set, Order of Chaos, and it has, you know, that waifu text. It has kind of that, I can't really explain it. I think this card is extremely undervalued, and I've been watching it for some time, and I really kind of go in and out of reviewing this and really picking this up, because for the longest time it was like 3-4 bones, and then 5, and then it kind of trickled up, and now it's kind of at this market price where it's, you know, about 7-6. And the thing that you'll take note of is there's not a lot of availability. There's only 3 pages, but then when you try to switch over to stacks, it's just not there. The availability is not there. So you'll have to kind of like onesie through all these and kind of eat the shipping potentially to pick these up. There is a 3-stack right here from Dabbers. So I would not be surprised. Honestly, I think that, like, out of the majority of stuff I said today, this is one of the MVPs. I really do personally believe in this investment. I think this card is extremely undervalued, and the sheer fact that this is the only stack available here on TCGP platform, and it's under 10 bones, you know, you could potentially 8+ for a piece for a stack of 3. I think that's an insane investment. And you can see again, there's a 2-stack here, but it goes all the way up to 23+, almost 24 bones a pop. And then for the third page, again, it just continues to trickle up, but there's no bulk pricing. And this is something that you want to invest in bulk price. You want to get as many of these, and again, exclusively for this specific variant, the original secret rare from Order of Chaos. And you have to go first edition because this is all for collectability purposes. If we switch over to another platform like eBay, it even increases up from more. We can see lowest first is about 12 bones for near mint first edition. Then it goes to 18, and then 19, and then 20, and it just kind of trickles up. And there's really not even that much on the eBay platform here. So the proof is in the pudding. I think this card is going up, and I think it's going to go up quicker than we think. Next is going to be Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. So, like the majority of the Ghost Girl traps, hand traps, original print secrets, the kind of like playing off the idea of what I was talking about with Tour Bus, these cards have fantastic artwork. They're high rarity of secret rare. Some of them are getting relatively up there in pretty good age. And they have kind of this cutesy anime girl waifu text, if you want to say, kind of allure to them. But for more specifically for the Ghost Girls, they kind of rotate in and out of the game states and the meta games. And obviously some more than others, but there's just that kind of benefit of potentially being a meta card and rotating in and out of the system. And again, just that they're high rarity secret rare, and their artworks are just almost unparalleled. They have fantastic artwork. Winter Cherry specifically is one of my favorite. Ghost Ogre is actually and Snow Rabbit is my favorite artwork out of the Ghost Girls so far that they've manufactured, but the runner-up is definitely Winter Cherries. And the reason why I really like Winter Cherries a lot, besides that it has like the second best artwork for the Ghost Girls, personally in my opinion, it's not so much that its effect is pretty lackluster. It's definitely not. It's known for being not one of the more stronger hand trap girls, but it's relatively affordable. If you look at the other hand trap girls, it's relatively affordable in comparison in price, and that makes it a key target for picking up affordably and relatively easily for bulk pricing, which is, you know, what it's all about to me personally. There are some Italian ones here, which I've personally copped up some of these myself. They look great. They look fantastic. I know not everyone likes European language cards. I personally do. So there's a fat stack of 7 for roughly around 9 bones with 99-cent shipping from this seller. And if you want English print for stacks, it goes up to 15 bones for near mint first editions. Now, the reason why I'm showcasing, again, just the stacks. Yes, you can probably get them a little bit more affordable for the onesie twosies, but this is a bulk investment. I little to almost never really invest in these type of investments when it's not, 2 or 3 stacks or more. Now, keep in mind, there is, of course, the 2017 Megaton Reprat Secret Rares, the Mirrored Secret Rare rarity, which these are different. This one is more, you can see it's darker, the foiling's more pronounced, and it's more like of a purple tone to it, where this one's lighter, and it's just overall the secret rare foiling is just a little bit lighter. So these are different in appearance. This being the original booster core set, it's just going to hold more collectability purposes. So be aware of that difference in the shading of the foiling. But again, for all the reasons I mentioned before, this investment is for collectability purposes, and that's why it's so critical to exclusively invest in the Shining Victories original print secret in first edition copies exclusively. Moving on is going to be Spooky Dogwood. So Spooky Dogwood is one of the newer hand trap girls, and there's a lot of variants of this. Again, you have to go original print secret rare Dark Neostorm. And this is one of the more, and the reason why I target this one, wanted to showcase this one, is this is one of the more affordable ones as well. You can see here, I'm starting out with stack pricing here. First edition near mint is 10 bones plus 99 cent shipping for a stack of 4. Then it goes to roughly around 12. Here's another stack for 10, but then there's $3 sneakily shipping, so be aware of that. So, and again, and I actually really like this effect. I like this effect even more than some of the other ones. I'm a big Atlantean Mermill fan, and I run a playset. I either side or I run a playset of these in that deck, and I like it a lot. A really cool artwork. Again, high rarity secret rare. I think there's great collectability potential as these cards get older, more difficult to find. I think they have no place to go besides increase in value. Alright, next is going to be Moonlight Chill. So I am aware that there is a Starlight Rare of this card. Again, I'm very, very selective with which Starlight Rares I think are actually kind of worth that time and effort in the money investing in. A lot of them just don't come off aesthetically pleasing to me, so that's why I'm showcasing something that I personally would invest in. I personally wouldn't invest in the Starlight Rare. I would personally invest in the standard secrets first edition exclusively. And for all the mentions I mentioned before regarding the Ghost Girl hand traps, same merit for Moonlight Chill. This one's a little bit more expensive. Starting market price is going to be roughly around 24-ish, give or take. There is a 3-stack here, and then it kind of trickles up after that. Only one page of availability. Now, of course, we can take off stacks, and it'll increase or decrease, but not really too heavily. I mean, but still around 20 bones. So, unfortunately, there really isn't a lot of stacks available. Obviously, we would go to bulk pricing. There's only one page of availability. But there's a time and a place. Maybe this will get flooded on the market. Maybe people will disregard this card and it'll go down. But this is another one that is a great collector's target. Alright, so moving on. Potentially Dual Terminal is back. One thing I wanted to mention is Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1. Set release is apparently going to be early next year, and we can see here in the contents it says 6 dual terminal technology ultra rare cards, 2 dual terminal technology common cards. Now they may water this down a little bit because the way I'm reading this, that every set is going to have 6 ultra DT cards and 2 DT common cards. It's going to flood the market a little bit. And then obviously this being kind of, if these really are the same as actual like the dual terminal machine variant rarities, it's going to be kind of like a reprint of that, kind of watered down version. So it is cool. I'm relatively curious to see how this is going to play out as far as investment wise. So I kind of have mixed feelings. I'm excited because this is going to give us potentially more opportunities, if this is accurate information, to get more dual terminal cards. But at the same time, it kind of discredits, it kind of may potentially water down some of the original dual terminal cards. I'm not really sure. Time will tell. But this is a really interesting set that I have my eye on, and it's one of the Uprising sets that I think is very interesting. So another thing that's interesting is that it says, I don't know what a one Hidden Arsenal storyline insert with game mat. I don't know what an insert is, but if this is an actual nice game mat, like a cloth game mat or like a you know, like a thick padded like mouse pad game mat, that's going to be really special because it's been quite some time since an actual product, like a sub product, has actually had like a mat, like some of the, was it Battle Pack? I can't remember, Battle Pack or something like that, had, you know, like the forbidden chalice and all that little like kind of mini mats. And another thing that's gonna is like the quality of the mat, and if like the size too. If it's like a half mat, no one really likes those kind of half mats, but if it's a full sized mat, I think that would be really special. And dice is pretty cool too. You know, I don't know how collectible the dice is going to be, but dice is, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh specific engraved dice is pretty cool. So that's something that's going to be interesting. The last card that I have for you guys is going to be Elemental Hero Stratos. So we just got a Starlight Rare variant in Burst of Destiny, and this actually looks very nice. Here is a photo of it right here. And again, I'm not a big fan by any means of Starlight Rares, but Stratos is one of the very first Starlight Rares that I think actually comes out very sharp looking, very clean. It actually doesn't look fake. It actually looks really, really nice, in my personal opinion. So, really quick, again, pretty much the Phantom under 400 bones for this variant. Obviously brand new right off the press. Really, really great card. About 2 pages of availability here on the TCG platform. And then of course we have the Ultima Rare. Now I personally think the Ultima Rare does reign supreme. The Ultimate Rare does look better in my personal opinion as opposed to the Starlight Rare. The Starlight Rare just is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And Ultimate Rares are more affordable. Ultimate Rares are going to be about 150 plus for near mints. There is a fat stack of 6 here for from 2 punch cards, so pretty impressive on that. So personally, I would not spend 400 on the Starlight Rare. I would much rather, you know, cut the price in half, more than half, and get the Ultimate Rare, especially with this fat 6 stack. This card has nowhere but to go up. Again, Hero players and Cyber Dragon players are pretty fanatical about their collectors markets. Their internal core markets, and this card is no stranger. It's one of the most infamous hero cards of all time. So thank you so much for watching these videos. I have been very fascinated with this game for several years. I love this hobby. I love this community. Yu-Gi-Oh has been part of my life for several years. I love the deck building, the creativity, the investment values, the friendships. There's so many amazing things that go into this hobby, and it's important to have hobbies. You need to be interested. You need to have things that you enjoy and that you can invest your time in. And life's just boring. Life's just boring if you don't have things that you can invest in and kind of create ideas in your mind. And it's just an all-around a really good place to be. And you know, the world's a really lonely place. Please be sure to take care of each other. There's a lot of, you know, good and bad things happening all the time. Isolationism, depression, loneliness is a real thing. Be a brother, be a sister, and just love and watch and take care of each other, please. I hope you guys are making some fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh investments yourself. This has been a showcasing by The White Mexican, and I'll see you in the next video.